Welcome to Scary Stories from the Rez. I'm your host, Megan Howard-Gibbon, and today I'm honored to welcome a special guest, Pat Seymour. Pat is an elder from Lheidli T'enneh, a drummer from the Castan group, and she grew up in Lheidli T'enneh. Welcome to the podcast, Pat.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have finally got you here.
It took a bit to get me here, but I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit of what it was like growing up in Lheidli T'enneh?
Well, I grew up and have been on Lheidli T'enneh since I was little. Growing up, we were one big family, cousins. All were like, it's not like nowadays. Excuse me. We played outside from daybreak to dusk. Sorry.
That's okay.
And yeah, it's just, we didn't have electronics or nothing, so we were out all day. Bikes, whatever we can think of, swimming, sliding in the winter time. Yeah, it's not like nowadays where kids are always on their phone or in the house.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of community
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool. I grew up in Prince George, so I've been here my whole life, but it is definitely different than it is now, especially when I worked at the school district, and you could see like the difference in the generations and what they're doing in their spare time was it's very different. So I heard that you worked at the band office and you're a cleaner there.
That's where I first started out at the band office. This was 20 plus years, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. And I heard you had some scary stories.
Oh, yes. I have a partner and he helps me with cleaning, and quite a few times when we're cleaning in there, I would be on the front part of the building. He would be in the back in the kitchen. And I'd be cleaning in the washroom, and we can hear somebody run up the stairs. So I would come out the door and look. Nobody there. And I go to the kitchen. I go, "Were you just downstairs?" "No." So we heard a lot of footsteps running up.
And what were you scared when it happened, or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially finding out that he was still in the kitchen and it wasn't him.
Yeah.
And he was downstairs once, and he got chased up the stairs. He's walking up. There's 2 flights of stairs. He came up the one, came on the landing, and something was running up the stairs behind him. So he gumbooted it, the rest of the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was another time we had to do a annual clean. We're cleaning the walls, windows, doors, a big clean. And I had my son Josh with me, my daughter, my granddaughter, and grandson. My grandson was around 7 at the time. He's now 15. Anyways, we went into town to get lunch. Half of the day was gone. We sat down in the big area in the band office. We ate, and my son had one of those music things where you put a phone in it and it'll play the music. And we were listening to music while we were eating. I'm a smoker, so after I ate, I went out. I said, "I'm going outside to have a cigarette." My girls came out with me and my grandson. And my son, Josh, was still in the building. And music was playing. And I know it was a CCR song, but I can't remember the name of it. Anyways, we're standing out there in front of the big window, and he was inside still. And then the music turned up. So he walks over to it, and the music's right in front of the window, so he was right in front of us. He turns it down, shrugs his shoulders, and then he looks again, and he can see the dial turning up.
Oh, my goodness.
So he shakes his hand. He goes, "Nope, I'm going to go outside and wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we waited outside until the music finished, the song finished, and then we went in, turned it down, and it stayed at the same volume. But yeah, for him to see it turn by in front of him.
I'd walk out too.
And then that same day, we were finishing up, and I was mopping the floors, and I was in the doorway of the kitchen. There was no door. It was just a doorway, and I'm mopping the floor, making my way out of the kitchen, and all of a sudden, my hair, I can feel it move, and I looked up, and there was this shadow, maybe about this big. It flew over me, and I looked as it was just going in front of me, and it just disappeared. And I dropped that mop, and I go, nope, nope. And I go, I don't want to be here anymore. So we finished as quick as we could, and we left. We didn't want to. That was all in one day. One afternoon that all happened.
Oh my goodness. So I wonder why it happened or what it was. Did you ever
no, I
talk to anyone about it? Or
well, there are workers there that have smelt perfume. They felt the presence there, and there was actually one worker that was there. He had an office in the basement, and I can't remember his name. Josh just mentioned it to me. Anyways, I can't remember his name, but he had an office in there, and he had his phone on the camera because he saw a chair move. So he had his camera on, and he caught the chair moving across the floor.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's all in the same building, or?
Same building.
Which building is it?
It's the band office on the...
Oh, okay.
On the reserve in Lheidli T'enneh, yeah, on the south side.
Okay.
Because we get a south side and north side.
Yeah.
They're split by the river. So, not very... They don't use the band office as much. There's maybe a few departments in there. But when there was lots, there was... Actually, you know what? We lost 2 family members. My aunt passed it. She was 93. And 3 days later, we lost her oldest sister in a car accident.
That's awful.
And we had my aunt's wake at her place. And then my cousin, they had her wake at the band office. And my younger sister lives in Williams Lake, came down with her hubby, and somehow we were talking about things that happened in the band office. And they were one of the fire keepers, so they were up all night keeping the fire going, and they would go in and out, and they had somebody there with my cousin, sitting with her during the night, and he went in, nobody was in there. He said he went into the kitchen to pour himself a coffee and get a snack. And he said he heard screaming. He said the first scream he heard, he laughed. And that was a month and a half ago. Yeah. So there's still activity there.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happening in that building.
And we've actually tried to see if we can spend the night and set up cameras in it, but no, they won't let us. Just to see if anything happens during the night and see if we can catch anything.
Yeah. I wonder if, is there anyone from Lheidli who's like a medium or something that could go in there and try and see if they could talk to whatever is there?
There might be somebody, but I don't know if they're willing to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see, because they sounds like they like CCR.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Might be someone, I don't know, it could be something. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah.
And there were old houses where the band office was put from years ago, so... Yeah. And I know they used to have, like, get-togethers and play music and dance and that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder if it was the same thing because, like, someone chased your partner up the stairs, and then it sounds like a lot of different stuff. People's perfume and music and yeah. But it sounds like it would give you the willies.
It does. It does. But today, when something happens, it still startles me a little, but not as bad as that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really something that day.
Yeah.
And I have another building that I do. It's on the north side. It's the new health building. It's like 2-3 years old, and right away I was given the contract to clean it. So things started happening right away there too. Yeah. Workers there, I think the one day they heard whistling. They were all sitting having lunch in the big meeting area, and they heard whistling down the hall. So two of them were there. They walked down the hall to look to see if anybody was down there. And while they were on the far end, they heard whistling from the area they came from.
Oh. Wow.
And I've seen shadows there.
Yeah.
I've seen shadows walk through or across the hall.
Oh. That's creepy.
And another time, my hubby, I was in the kitchen, and you've got to go through a big area and go around to where the cleaning stuff is. And he was cleaning the hallway there. He was sweeping. I was unloading the dishwasher. So I was making quite a bit of noise. And then all of a sudden I can hear the broom drop really hard. And I heard footsteps. He comes whipping around the corner. Just pale. Eyes are big. He goes, "Did you just hear that?" I go, "No, I didn't hear nothing." I go, "What did you hear?" He goes, "Somebody was beside me and screamed in my ear."
Wow.
I go, "No, I couldn't hear anything. I was unloading the dishwashers." He goes, "Yeah, you're going to have to stay beside me now while we clean." He goes, "I don't want to be alone."
Yeah. So, like, where is the south side and the north side? Like, how far are they?
The north side, you've got to go out towards the Hart Highway and turn off at Chevron.
Okay.
And then you follow Landus Road all the way out. It's about 20-25 minutes. And the south side's about the same, but you go out through the airport area.
Okay.
But it is connected. We have to go through Canfor in order to get to the other side.
Okay. So how far from each other are they?
They're about maybe a 10-minute drive.
Okay. Yeah. 'Cause that's, like, there's some stuff happening in both places. So I wonder what the connection is, or if it's...
I know,
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard some other kind of stories about some, like, legends around Prince George. But I didn't hear them directly from anyone from Lhedli. But when I worked at the school district, my coworker was telling me about, she lived up in Westgate area, and she told me about the story of Estas. Have you heard that story before? Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
I'm not a very good storyteller.
That's okay.
Yeah. No, I don't feel comfortable talking about it.
Yeah, she was telling me about the story of Estas, who was a runner between villages. And they say he's still running. His spirit is still running. And she would see out in Westgate, it would be... there's like a street light, and then it would get dark, and then another street light, so you just see what's right in front of this, what's under the street light. Everything else is dark. And she would see a shadow running, like, so she would see it go through each light
Really?
that she'd see out in Westgate. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I already kind of am a little bit, like, freaked out at nighttime, but if I was seeing stuff like that, I'd
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm trying to think of a... Oh, actually, this is to do with UFOs. I never believed in them.
Mm-hmm.
People always told me about what they saw. And, I always said, if I see it, then I'll be a believer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this was, I can't even remember, 15, maybe 20 years ago. My son, Joshua, used to live behind my house on the next street in a triplex. And we went over on I believe it was a Sunday to visit him. And then I had me, my oldest son, again, my daughter and granddaughter. And we left Josh's place, and it's just like a minute and a half walk from my place.
Mm-hmm.
So we left his place, and as we're walking, we can see this orange light. It's probably like maybe half a kilometer or less from my place. We got this big water tower.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw this orange light coming from there, and we're just trying to look. And it was oval, and I'd say it was about between 60 and 80 feet long.
Wow.
So then my son started walking. He wanted to get a closer look.
Mm-hmm.
So I went home to get the Sunfire, and of course my partner's car is behind me, so I had to go like this in order to get out of the driveway and make my way to the water tower.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're getting there, it was, you can see the windows.
Wow.
It's shaped oval. It was a bright orange. And my oldest son, Brian, was saying that before it became big, it had like four little lights,
Mm-hmm.
and then 3, and it was like a triangle shape.
Mm-hmm.
And he said they came together in a straight line
Mm-hmm.
and moved behind the water tower and became that big one.
Oh.
Yeah. So then I drove up, and the thing, it just like shrunk like this behind the water tower, and it was gone.
Oh.
So I'm thinking it got smaller and became the little ones again,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's so
zipped out of there.
interesting.
Yeah. Like I was never
Yeah.
a believer of UFOs until I saw that.
Did anything weird happen after that?
No.
No.
But maybe a month and a half after that, my oldest granddaughter would go for walks in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
She'd go walk through the Rez, just to walk. And she said that she got close to the water tower and saw that ship there again.
Oh.
And she had her phone on her,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't make a call, wouldn't take pictures, wouldn't do nothing. So she started running home,
Mm-hmm.
and then she stopped again to try and get a picture or call, and her phone wouldn't work, and she just gumbooted her right home,
Yeah.
right to the door.
Oh, that's
And she was so
freaky.
scared because she was alone.
Mm-hmm.
But she said it was the same one we saw
Yeah.
prior.
Oh. I wonder what they were doing there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's actually quite a few members that have seen ships out there or on the way home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of freaky. I've heard, do you remember Baldy Hughes?
Mm-hmm.
It used to be like a military base, and people have said like they've seen stuff around that area too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've heard a couple stories from out there.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I think the band is now owners of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well, they can keep an eye out while
Yeah.
they're out there. But yeah, that's really freaky because I don't know. There's so many different accounts of UFOs, and they say that like there's like radiation and stuff. If you get too close to them, it can like make you sick and
Oh,
stuff
really?
like that. So yeah, you have to be careful if you see them. And
Wow, I never heard that before.
Did you see anything through the windows?
No.
No? Yeah.
No.
Just the lights. And,
And it was orange like the sun.
Mm-hmm.
That same color. So it really stuck out in the nighttime.
Yeah.
But I can't believe nobody else saw it.
Yeah.
You know?
That is... Because no one else was looking, I guess.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I always have my windows, my curtains closed
Yeah,
and stuff.
me too.
So I
At night,
Yeah. never see anything that's happening outside.
Well,
but
I grew up being taught to close the windows so that nothing can look in or enter during the night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they're talking about the UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
The aliens. But that's so creepy. Have you seen anything like that since then, or?
No, mostly I also clean a tree nursery. It's on the way home. It's just off of Northwell Pubmill Road.
Mm-hmm.
They have a tree nursery there, and we've probably been there maybe 6 years, 7 years. And yeah, there's a lot that happened there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I remember the first time we started there, they have a boot room, and I was sweeping in there, and I can hear drumming. And I'm wondering, where's the drumming coming from? And I kept hearing it, and I walked out to find my partner. I go, do you hear drumming? And he listened. He goes, no. I go, well, come into the boot room. And then we went back into the boot room, and the drumming was louder. It's like a hand drum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got louder. And one of the tiles was moved, and he thought maybe somebody was working up there and left a radio.
Mm-hmm.
I go, well, if they did, it's going to be battery operated.
Mm-hmm.
So then we continued cleaning, and then I heard music. And like, I don't know where it was coming from, but it was the same area when I was mopping in the boot room.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it there. So yeah, there's a lot that happens in that place to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I think maybe a month ago we were there cleaning, and I was sweeping the long hallway. I went down the hallway and I was coming back, and then somebody goes, what are you doing? A woman's voice. And I looked around and I go, cleaning? Like, you know, it's just, yeah, but clear. I can hear, what are you doing? And
whoa.
so things like that, I can feel the hair standing up in
Yeah, I
the
got
back
goosebumps
here.
from
Yeah.
that.
And what else happened there? We've heard chairs move.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I do the lunchrooms sweeping, I always push the chairs a certain way back to the way they were.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in the far end, the back area. They have another lunchroom, and we heard this chair move, you know, like aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at him and I go, was that a chair moving? Because it happened to him, and somebody else had taken over in my position for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So they were working there late, and the guy saw a chair move in front of him.
Wow.
So he went to go find my partner, Rob, and told him. And he goes, yeah, things like that happen here all the time. But then we heard the chair move that night.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're making our way back to the front, and I looked into the lunchroom, because I know how I positioned all the chairs. I had the chairs against the wall, and one was turned this way, pushed in under the table this way, but I had it facing this way.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew exactly which chair was moved. And
Wow.
yeah.
That's so creepy. So that was, that's on the way out when you're driving to the pulp mill?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just before the pulp mill.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on Landry's Road.
Interesting. There's a lot of, is it called a poltergeist when they move stuff around?
I don't know.
I think, yeah.
And my partner, he was there 2:00 one morning.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the same night that the guy that was working with heard the chair move or saw the chair move in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he went and found him and told him. And then you have to go through the work area to put garbage out in the bins. So they went out to go throw garbage out, and they heard the drumming again. And my partner, Rob, said that he saw a native dancer dressed in regalia dancing in the back part. And he goes, like he was illuminated.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he just stood there and watched him dance.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's something I would like to see.
Yeah.
Something like that, I would love to see that.
Well, it sounds like you've seen a lot of, and heard a lot of stuff.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. All throughout, like, different places.
Mm-hmm.
And other people, too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's like...
Other people seeing and hearing things in the same place.
Yeah. So I wonder if there's something, like a reason that it's happening, or...
I know, it makes you wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there a gravesite, an old gravesite there, or,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. How have these experiences affected you?
At first, they scared me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really scared me that I didn't want to go back.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's my job, I have to go back. And now it bothers me a little bit. But it doesn't really scare me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that before I go and enter the place that I clean 1, 2, 3, 4 places on Lheidli T'enneh, and one is off Lheidli T'enneh. And the ones that do have the activities, as soon as I enter the door, I can feel if something's going to happen or if something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like beforehand, I get this feeling through my body, like, get ready for something to happen.
Yeah. So do you like smudge or do anything to help you, like, spiritually, or?
I smudge.
Mm-hmm.
I smudge.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like I said, it used to really scare me. But now it's pretty well becoming, how can I put it? Like I'm used to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's some do still scare me to a point that I don't want to work in the area alone.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not as often as it used to be.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if you just are, like, really in tune with, like, that, so you hear it more than other people.
I actually, you know what? I've been told that I was asked, do you hear or see things? I go, yeah, I hear things, I see things, but not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was told when you were younger, you had the ability to see and you turned it off.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, you're going to have to, if you want to know more about it, he goes, you're going to have to turn it back on.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, but you were a little girl when you turned it off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard that if you're able to, like, my friend who's a medium said that, like, it's something you have to work on. It's like a muscle.
Oh,
and so
okay.
If you, like, don't exercise it, then it kind of can go away.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you've been hearing a lot of stuff, like, your whole life, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, like, I've learned about the history of Lheidli, and, like, it's got lots of hard times in it, and the people who live there have like, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened to your community. So there's probably a lot of like unresolved kind of feelings within that maybe caused some spirits to like linger behind or something.
Yeah, that could be a good possibility. And I live right next to the church too, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, there's nothing happens there. But people are scared of the church. I don't know why.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Probably because now they're all boarded up because they took all the windows out and they have it in storage at the museum.
Oh, okay. It's not being used for anything.
No.
It's just an empty building.
But it's still scary. Especially the kids, they're really...
Yeah.
They don't want to go near it or go in it unless... Yeah. I'm trying to remember if I forgotten anything. I probably have. I mean, a lot. I've seen a lot.
Yeah, I find like there's been a couple times where you kind of just stop thinking about it and then you keep talking and then, oh, like something else came up. Or, yeah. There's, yeah, I've heard some other stories throughout Prince George. And like when I was growing up, we lived downtown and we lived in a really old house. And I've told this story before on the podcast, but I had a doll, and it was like one of those kind of porcelain dolls, and it would always be right outside my bedroom door. And my sister's bedroom was right across from me, so I thought she was putting it there because I thought she was pranking me because she's 6 years older than me. And so I'd always be like, "Why did you put this here?" And she's like, "I didn't put it there, I swear." And then I brought it up like last year, I think, and she was like, "I swear to you, was not putting that outside your room."
Oh.
Yeah. So that we lived in that house till I was like 10, I think. And then it was just a really old house downtown. So, and my friend who I was talking to about it, she's like a really close, lifelong friend. And she was like, "I did not like sleeping over at your house. It was so creepy." I
think I've mentioned all like the big things that happened.
Okay. Do you think any of the things that you have experienced have any meaning? Or
probably. Maybe trying to get a message for help to cross over. That's what I keep thinking,
Yeah.
that they want help and they don't know how to get across. Oh, something just came up from the nursery. Again, walking through the boot room, you have to walk through the men's washroom or the ladies' washroom. And they have a mirror right across the one wall above the sinks. I was sweeping, and I have a habit of not looking in the mirrors because we're usually there late at night. And I happen to look up as I'm sweeping, and right across from me, there was a figure. I know it was a male. He had like a light shirt on, black suspenders. And then the next day we're there before everybody finished the shift, and my partner went and mentioned it to one of the ladies that she's been there for years. I think since she was 16 or 18, she's been working there, so she's a long-time employee there. And he mentioned what I saw in the mirror, and she mentioned a name, but he couldn't remember. He goes, "Oh, that's one of our maintenance workers." So he's still there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I saw him in the mirror.
Oh.
And it was the suspenders that stayed with me.
Yeah. I wonder, whenever you hear stories about people seeing a spirit and it's someone who worked there, I'm always like, why would you want to stay where you were working?
And they have names for the different ones. I guess there's more than one there, and that each of them, through the employees, has a name
Oh,
that they gave to them
interesting.
because they don't know who it is. Yeah.
I wonder if you looked into like the history more, if you could find out that kind of stuff. Yeah. If there was someone who wanted to do that research. Yeah.
But I think one day I do want to stay at the band office on the south side for the night.
Yeah.
Just so that we can see if we can hear any activity and set up cameras.
Yeah.
Different angles. And
we did that at Sisters Rock and Gem.
Oh.
We went in. Have you been in that store before? Okay, so you know what it is. It's right downtown. Apparently it's like a really haunted place because it used to be an undertaker.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like back when Prince George, like, I don't know, when Prince George was big, back in the olden days. Yeah, it was like one of the first undertakers in the area. And so they had a lot of death go through there. And when the Spanish influenza happened, there were so many people dying at the time that they were just like piling bodies in the back. But what they say is the family that lived there is still there today. And there's been a couple businesses that have gone through there. There used to be like that gift shop. And then there was the women's clothing store. And now it's the Sisters Rock and Gem. And apparently the spirits there like the owner of Sisters Rock and Gem. But they didn't like the owner of the clothing store.
Oh.
Or they didn't like it when it was there.
So there was probably different activities, eh?
Yeah, and people have said they've seen, like, one of the employees saw a person walk in, and they walked up to them, and they were like, oh, can I get you anything? Can I help you? We're not open yet. And then, like, the door was locked and everything, and then they turned around, and I think they walked away or something, didn't say anything, and then the employee was like, oh, who was that guy, to the other person who was working with him? And they're like, no one else was here. Yeah. So that building has I've heard a bunch of stories from there because my partner did a web series where it was called Phantom Rivers, and he would go do like ghost hunts at different places. So he has like the cameras, and he has infrared cameras and the little like EMF detectors that, have you seen those before? Yeah. So they'll like detect electromagnetic frequencies and some other stuff. And we went in through that building. It was a little bit like, it was at nighttime, but nothing happened while we were there. But the stories that the owner had were really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds good. I mean,
and she also told us a story about there's like that mansion on North Nechako. Do you know? Have you ever seen that one?
no.
If you go down North Nechako, there's like this old mansion. It's no one lives there anymore, but they were doing like an art sale when they were people living there, and she saw like a little girl going through one of the doors or something, and apparently that was a ghost that lives in that house. Yeah.
So I guess it happens everywhere and anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. I've heard lots. I like to ask people about their stories too, so whenever we're like, I used to work for Takla, and my friend and I were driving back, and it was nighttime, and I was like, do you have any scary stories? And she was like, oh yeah, we have scary stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a I don't know. It's a cool way to connect with like the people, but also learn. There's always like some history behind stuff, and then you get like to hear the cool stories, and yeah.
Yeah, I think my favorite one is the music one. Yeah.
The one where it's turning the music up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that place too, they have waters that, they have the flip thing to turn the waters on. You flip it up. Water turns on all the time in there on its own.
That sounds like a very, it's a busy place.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
and the nursery. Yeah. The health hasn't really had that much lately.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the music one's my favorite. It's still, I don't know, it still brings the chills when I talk about it.
Yeah.
I think because it was like one of the first ones that ever happened to me, that other people were there to see it also and hear it also.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Totally.
all of us heard the music turn up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But the shadow, I was alone. Everybody else was in other parts of the building, and I was alone with the shadow. And yeah, that one really scared me.
Yeah.
Because I felt it.
Yeah.
When it flew over me,
touches-
I can
that's
feel my hair
creepy.
move up on top of my head from the wind. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if I ever make it out there, I'll bring some smudge with me, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to share?
I think that's about it.
Okay.
If more happen, I'll let you know.
Yeah. We'll do another episode. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and telling your stories.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I was excited about this.
Yeah. It was fun. It was interesting to hear all of these stories, and especially like you being Claytley. I haven't had anyone else from Claytley come on, so
okay.
yeah, I was happy that you were willing to come on and do this for us. So yeah.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah. I was happy to do it.